Back in the house with a 9-4.
You did good, sir.
I feel like Princess Peach, rose gold on my Mercedes. Rose gold on my bitch, looking like her name Mercedes. I need a hoe who down, my little eyes, what up, ladies? Switched out the friendly smile, but the face that reads, fuck you, pay me. Ain't got rabies, I just overdose off coke, and if I know, they hope I die.
Hey guys, we are back. My name is XiX from XiX Sports Network.
And I'm Ethan, from mistaken for Bacon.
It's actually a rainy El Paso day, which is obviously rare, but it's nice outside. Of course, we're inside now.
Yeah.
Luckily, before we'd have to worry about the weather.
Yeah.
But, like I said last episode, waiting all these months for week one to finally come by. Week one goes by in a jiffy.
Yeah.
And now week two has gone by in a jiffy.
Yeah, as it is.
My boys won. Thank God, because that was the most stressful game of my life. But we'll get there. And of course, the Rams won as well.
Of course, yeah.
But we're going to start off with something that we forgot to do last episode. We're a little bit rusty. We're actually going to talk about the results from last week. So ignore the records. I kind of forgot to update them. But we're going to go by with the Thursday night football game, Commanders versus Packers. I picked the Commanders because I'm just being a hater. And I was hoping that somehow Jaden Daniels will go back to LSU Prime and go take down the Packers. Didn't happen. Jaden Daniels struggled. You ended up getting the pick.
Yeah.
And of course, Cowboys Giants. I'll wait till after the results to talk about my thoughts on the Cowboys game. But of course, we expected the Cowboys to have a high scoring game. We both actually predicted the same score for the Giants. Now the thing is, the way I differentiate these shootouts is that whoever has like the closest winning score would get the point. So the Cowboys scored 40. Ethan was close with 34. He ended up getting the point. Most stressful game of my fucking life. And here, the Seahawks and Steelers game, of course, the Seahawks ended up winning, so none of us get a point here. Rams and Titans, the score ended up being, what was the score, Paul?
It was 33-19.
33-19. Of course, I was actually closest with 31-20. Bills and Jets, I actually got this one perfectly right. The score was 30-10. Ended up picking 30-10. The Jaguars and Browns, so it seemed like things were going to get scary once Joe Burrow was carted off. It sucks for me because he is actually one of my fantasy football quarterbacks.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, pretty tough. But Jake Browning came in, secured the dub. What was the score for that one?
No,
It was
31-27.
Yeah, 31-27. I actually ended up getting the closest score. Niners and Saints kind of seemed like a sleeper game. I don't think anybody was really paying attention to this one.
Yeah.
That one, the score was 21-26. I was the closest. No, yeah, I was the closest one, 24-14. Ravens and Browns. Ravens were on a vengeance. They ended up scoring, I believe it was 41-17. Ethan was closest, 35-13. Of course, score prediction right there. Bears and Lions. Damn.
Yeah.
Damn, we're really way off. Of
Yeah.
course, Lions ended up putting 52 on the Bears. Ethan was the closest
Smacked.
with 24-17. Broncos and Colts. I give you props for this one, Ethan.
Yeah, I got the upset of the week.
Yeah, you predicted the upset of the week, and of course they ended up taking it by 1 point as well with a leverage call. At first, I didn't know what a leverage call was at first, and then eventually they talked about it, and it was the whole jumping over there. I don't remember, some bullshit.
Yeah.
Colts won. Panthers and Cardinals. Ethan actually got it right at the score of 28-11.
Yeah.
The final score was, what was the final score? Oh, 27-22.
Yeah.
Eagles and Chiefs. Again, this is just me being a hater. I picked the Chiefs. Chiefs were close, but they couldn't get it done.
Yeah. Mistakes.
Made some mistakes, and Ethan ended up getting the pick. Falcons and Vikings game was kind of unless you're a Falcons fan like our boy Nate. Of course, he probably enjoyed it, but other than that, it wasn't really an interesting game. Ethan ended up getting the point at 24-21. The final score was like 22-6.
Yeah.
And then Buccaneers and Texans, that was a good game.
Yeah,
Baker-
it really was.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield ended up getting the dub. I was actually the closest, final score being 20-19. I ended up getting it 26-21. Raiders and Chargers, who gives a shit about the Raiders, bro? Final score was 20-9. I ended up getting the points because I predicted 28-23. And then the fucking New England and Miami Dolphins game, we totally forgot to talk about it last week. That's on us. But the final score of that one, if I can find it.
I think it was like 27-33.
27-33, and right here I ended up getting the point, 21-17. Final score for this week, Ethan actually ended up winning week 2 with an 8-8 record. I ended up being behind him, 7-9, and that actually ties us up at 14-18. So we start off just like the way we started off in the beginning of the season. So both our teams won, so a good weekend. Also, all 3 of my fantasy teams won, so that was great as well.
Yeah.
You want to start off with the Raiders or the Rams fucking analysis, I guess.
Sure, yeah. So, guys, the Los Angeles Rams had quite an excellent game. You know what I mean? it was a really good game for us in Nashville. It started off a little shaky, I can't lie. They first half we were down 13-10, but I think we came out and showed really what I was looking forward to seeing from the Rams this year in the second half. With a bunch of plays, obviously to both Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams. Stafford spreading that ball around, and finally the appearance of Blake Corum finally getting a lot of carries, get his first actually NFL career touchdown. Even though he's already a sophomore running back, but I'm excited. It was a really good showing from those guys, and on the defensive side of the ball again, Nate Landman just making plays all over the field, the forced fumble. Secondary is looks pretty good. In some plays they said they kind of failed a little bit. There's a lot of highlight plays from Cam Ward this week. But overall they tightened up. No pun intended in the second half, and we're able to get that victory. And I was really impressed with what they were able to do in that second half. Really showed me everything that I expect from them, and I'm just pleased. I'm pleased with what they did. Good. I'm very happy we got Blake Corum involved because I'm a big, obviously big Michigan fan, and he was a big vital piece of their offense the last couple of years up to when they won the national championship. And I'm just excited for Puka and Devontae. That's like the dream combo, and they both had over 100 yards in this game. And Stafford's looking good. So I got no complaints. We do have an injury with Hello Witherspoon. Unfortunately, he has a broken clavicle or something like that. So he'll be out, I believe, probably until like November, December, which is a little rough, I know, and because he's a pretty big piece of our offense our defense the last couple of years, a veteran piece. But we recently just signed Trey Brown like an hour ago, former cornerback with the Seattle Seahawks. He made a lot of starts, and I'm pleased with that. Because it's kind of hard to find somebody big at this point. You gotta have a lot of money, and Rams have become, ever since their Super Bowl, they become kind of more of a frugal team, which I kind of like because they've still kind of yielded success. So I'm pretty pleased with that pickup. We'll see what happens with Trey Brown, but he's a guy that's played in the league, so not much to. I don't think there's much to ask for. Guys just gotta step up, and I think secondary can step up. They're kind of underrated. I think they can. But I'm gonna break down my highlight of the week, guys. My play of the week for the Rams, and it's gonna be Devontae Adams' first career touchdown as a Ram, and it's a beautiful route on the Luxurious Steed. He just gets it, goes up and gets it, looks down on him like he's a little boy. That's a very impressive play, guys. And there's a lot of LA fans, the LA Rams fans in Nashville this week. And it was a great sight to see, I'm just good vibes all around, and I was kind of upset in that first half because how porous we were looking. And then I was like, I should calm down, it's just week 2 and everything's going to be fine, we're figure it out. And then they just went on a tear. So, it just proves it, So I feel like if you're on any team, and you're 0-2, you shouldn't, or even 0-2, 1-1, won't worry too much about, what's going on. Unless you're like the Cincinnati Bengals, who unfortunately have a starting quarterback out for most of the season. But other than that, great win by the Rams, great win in football, and I thoroughly enjoyed this time. So now it's time for you to talk about what, in my opinion, is the game of the year so far, honestly. Even better than the Bills and Ravens, can't lie.
I've actually felt a lot better coming out of the Eagles game than I did coming out of this game.
I feel that.
And honestly, not to make me sound like a psychic, but I kind of have when I have an instinct coming towards a game, I'm usually not wrong, and I was kind of nervous going into this game, only because a lot of people were putting us against the Giants and saying oh, they're gonna blow us out, they're gonna blow them out, and we absolutely should have, but I guess not having Deron Bland out there, it just killed us. Because holy,
I actually forgot about that. So that's I kind of understand.
We didn't have Deron Bland out there.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Of course, Trevon Diggs is not 100%. A lot of people are giving Trevon Diggs some flack. I'm not gonna discredit him completely, but I'm also not gonna defend him as well. I feel like maybe he's not 100%. Maybe he shouldn't be out there. Of course, if you guys don't know, he tore his ACL last year, so maybe he shouldn't be out there. But that Kyer Elam, bro. Oh, now I know what the Bills fans were saying. They're saying that he's fucking dog shit. He gets burnt like burnt toast, crazy, and it showed. Both Malik Neighbors and Rondé Robinson was just on his ass, bro.
Yeah.
It was horrible,
crazy.
man. And of course, offense couldn't do anything in the beginning. In the first half, it was kind of getting worrisome. But I'm gonna start with the negatives first. Our secondary, man, it was horrible. We were going against a team that had AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. They just won the Super Bowl last year, and we shut them down completely.
Yeah,
of course, it could be because again we didn't have Deron Bland, but even then we still got Diggs and we still got, I guess, Kyrie Ingram. I got to give my props to Reddy Stewart because Reddy Stewart was actually somebody that was lifted off of practice squad just this week because Deron Bland went down, and he actually looked pretty solid for only being on the team or the main team for a week. So shout out to him. But this Kyrie Ingram, man, oh my god, bro. It gave me Anthony Brown vibes. Yeah. It gave me Anthony Brown vibes, which was horrible. Watching the game, I wanted to throw up. I wanted to fucking, oh my god, it was horrible. But other than that, there was also another negative was that our pass rush was just non-existent. It was non-existent. And of course, everybody kept bringing it up. Would it be different if we had Michael Parsons? Would it be different if we had Michael Parsons? Would it be different if we had Michael Parsons? Oh my god. Micah's gone. All right, Micah's fucking gone. Whether you stand on the side of Micah that thinks that he should have gone paid, whether you have a fucking brain and you know that if you had to pay Micah, that would have been Dak, CD, and Micah taking up like half of the fucking cap space with just those three players alone.
Yeah.
Regardless, Micah is gone.
Yeah.
But another big shout out to Kenny Clark. He stepped in and he got a sack like that.
Yeah.
Justin Houston. Again, he wasn't even on our team throughout the summer. He was on our team like a week before preseason. They signed him, kicked ass of preseason, had a good showing against the Eagles. He got bitch slapped by that one random offensive line.
Yeah, I saw
that.
Drew
four penalties in one drive. That guy has to be the biggest Cowboys fan ever because I think what was it? It was a holding call and then unnecessary roughness call, 2 false start calls and one false start calls in one drive.
It's crazy.
Funny as hell, I can't lie. But shout out to Justin Houston, shout out to Kenny Clark because they both got sacks. And our linebackers didn't look bad. I'm still kind of mad that they're not playing Maurice Theophile. Jack Sanborn's okay. He's iffy. Kenneth Murray looked a lot better this time. Maybe not as much as we'd want him to, but looked a lot better this time than he did against Philly. Our corners look like dog shit. Pass rush is non-existent. And then one last negative, our offensive line, man, what the hell?
Yeah.
Against Philly, of course, they didn't have Jordan Davis, what the fuck his name is, Hawk Tua over here.
Hawk Tua.
He ended up getting himself ejected, which I don't feel bad.
Jalen Carter?
Jalen Carter, there
I
you
was
go,
like,
bad. Sorry, it's got to get him mixed up with Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter.
Yeah.
But he ended up getting himself ejected, and I don't want to hear, oh, you guys only, whatever, it was a close game because he wasn't there. Because that's his fault. But we went against a good defensive line. We went against another good defensive line, and it just seems like in a span of 1 week, our offensive line was just non-existent as well.
Yeah.
Except for Tyler Smith, got his big bag, and he protected Dak as much as he can. It was great. I loved it. But other than that, it just seemed like Dak kept getting hit. And, of course, he just came off injury last year. We don't want that. Especially because Dak, once again, is proving Dak is not the problem.
Yeah.
He is not the problem. I don't know what fucking workout regimen he did this year, but he's been looking amazing. He's lasering those balls in.
Yeah.
He's freaking, I don't know. I can't.
My fantasy quarterback in the XiX league.
I can't get over it. And of course, Javonte Williams as well. Another week where he's just
baller.
He's balling out, man. The overtime play when it was like 2nd and 29, and Coach Shoddy, I guess, called a run play, and they gave it to Javonte. And as soon as they handed it off, I was like, bro, what are we doing?
Yeah.
At that point, I thought we were playing to a tie. And then all of a sudden, he busts out like a 10-yard run to make it like 3rd and 8. And then we got it like that, right?
Yeah.
George Pickens got the ball. It was nice. CD only dropped like 1 pass this time. But whatever. He ended up playing a good game. I think he had like 9 catches. Jake Ferguson, bro.
Yeah.
We paid you.
What happened, Jake?
Well, you keep dropping balls after we fucking paid you, bro. Come on. Other than that, though, one thing I will say, though, is I'm glad that the offensive side of the ball came through.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that they were rough in the first half, defense wasn't really being their best friend that game. But yet, at the end of the day, somehow, some way, we still got it done.
Yeah,
Pulled through. I'm not going to sit here and act like we won out of, like, the fact that our defense stepped up. We really didn't. We got lucky.
Yeah.
We got lucky at the fact that our offense kept punching back, kept answering back. We got lucky that Russell Wilson randomly fumbled. And And we got lucky that Russell Wilson basically gave us the game ball right there when he threw it to Donovan Wilson. Donovan Wilson, don't get me started, bro. You sold Trevon Diggs so bad, and it seems like everybody's giving Trevon Diggs a flag for it. Yeah. When if you really, and I'm not saying like I'm like a fucking film analyst, but I do watch content creators that do look over film, and he does bring up a lot of good points. There's times where it'll be a showing cover two high safeties, Donovan Wilson on the right side, Trevon Diggs is under him, and for some reason, of course, Trevon Diggs is covering his side of the field. Donovan Wilson has a backfield, and guess what? Ended up throwing him Malik Neighbors.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. And the one last thing. The zone coverage, bro. Zone coverage. It was zone coverage 24/7, like for middle school ball.
Yeah.
And it should have gone to a point like, yes, I get it. Maybe they didn't trust Kyrie Elam. Maybe they didn't trust the fact that Trevon Diggs is not 100%. I get that. But at the same time, you have to throw a risky ball every now and then because that's what kept eating us up. That's what kept eating us up. Donovan Wilson's not a good coverage safety. I'm sorry to say it, but he's not. It was just rough. I'm just glad we won, though. Shout out to Brandon Aubrey. Yeah. He needs to get paid. He needs to get paid. I've never felt so calm at a 64-yard field goal attempt. 3 seconds left to tie the game to continue the game. And that's because we have the GOAT, Brandon Aubrey. So shout out Brandon Aubrey. But other than that, I am actually a lot disappointed than I should be because Cowboys ended up winning, but it was just rough.
Yeah.
I actually could not wait to record today to get that off my chest because it was horrible. But before we start picking, I do have a couple highlights. I think I only have like 3. But
yeah.
Got this one. I don't remember the highlights, so let's see what they are. Oh, Jamonte Williams, my guy right here. Look at that. Boom! Into the open field. Again, I'm sorry, Jamonte, for talking shit about you, bro, but you're G. And, of course, the next one, I think it might be another Jamonte clip. Oh, this one was just because it was cool. Nice little jab step, finding the hole. Boing! Fucking flying, and that was the win. There was only a minute left. I think we probably ended up... I think this might have been this clip, actually. If it would play... There we go. Yeah, same drive right here. Just a little shout out to our YN right here, GP3 with the touchdown. But, and of course, shout out to George Pickens. He was a lot more involved this time. I think this because the celebration is so cold. But I think it's just more of a fact of the matter that they're just trying to get him used to being in the Cowboys playbook or whatever.
Yeah.
Give it more time, and it ended up. If CD's not working, maybe he's getting unfortunately locked down or whatever, or maybe Dak's just not finding him.
Yeah.
GP3.
Yeah.
But other than that, it is now time to pick week
3. It is time, Sam.
We are starting off with our Thursday night football game.
Yeah.
AFC East division rivals. The poor excuse.
The poor excuse for
the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah.
Taking on the good excuse of an NFL team, the Buffalo Bills.
So, Sam, we are here in week 3. Like you said, it's flown by so quick. We're already in week 3. I remember a month ago, 2 months ago, I was waiting for the season so desperately. Now we're here. But, anyways, so for the Miami Dolphins, Sam, we'll start with them. They lost to the New England Patriots, and this time they put up a better offensive performance than they did against the Indianapolis Colts. So there was positives to look forward to. But the team just looks lost, Sam. There's a lot of drama with Tyreek Hill and Tua Tagovailoa, and a lot of question marks surrounding Mike McDaniel. And I feel like this is one of the hottest seats that has ever been conceived in Miami with Mike McDaniel. And it doesn't look good right now with Miami. And like I said earlier, I don't think if you're a team that's 0-2 or 1-1, you need to panic. Because, like my Rams, we came from last year, we were 0-2 and we still made the playoffs. But I think with the Dolphins, there's a little bit too much dysfunction right now. And it's just crazy right now. I can't believe how bad it's gotten. And, they did have a better performance in week 2. But, this is a brutal matchup for them, Sam. Because the Buffalo Bills are coming off an absolute beatdown against the New York Jets. They really weren't able, to do anything against them. And Jets, I thought were going to be a decent team after their week 1 performance against the Steelers. But, Buffalo just showed them their place, and Buffalo has shown everybody their place. And that's why, Sam, I got Buffalo in my lock of the week, Sam. Buffalo is riding high right now. They're 2-0, coming off 2 thrilling victories where they scored upwards of 30 points, Sam. This team is for real once again. And, I don't see a world where, Miami can beat them with how the situation is right now. Put your rent on it. Put the house payment on it. put your mortgage on it, put this cat on it. The fucking Buffalo Bills are gonna beat down the Miami Dolphins on Thursday Night Football in Highmark Stadium.
I'm scared. I'm gonna check.
All right. That was a good one, huh?
That was, yeah, it has a luck of the week and everything. It doesn't show on here. Sorry, notice. All right. Now, no disagreeing here. Dolphins, man, they just do look lost. And it's kind of crazy because a couple years ago, like they were like one of the teams to see, one of the teams that people
Premier
would pick,
teams, yeah.
one of the premier teams, to have a good season and all this stuff, but it just has not turned out good for them, man. It's rough to see because Tyreek Hill's a cool player. Kind of like makes you think like why he ended up leaving Kansas City to begin with. Charlotte, hello, you scared me. But I'm not gonna disagree with my boy here. It's kind of an easy pick here. We got the Buffalo Bills on my side. I did put it right. I did.
Yeah.
On my side, and you know what that means? Your favorite game.
Yeah, here we go.
The shootout. Let me write on everything. All right, ready? Rock, paper, scissors. Rock, paper, scissors. Rock, paper, scissors. Rock, paper, scissors.
Fucking
All right, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 34-7.
34-7. All right, I like that.
Yep.
I'm gonna go here with a final score of we'll do 28-10.
All right. Up next into our Sunday slate, we got the Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Minnesota Vikings. Now this would have been cool. The original quarterbacks are playing, but instead it is a battle between Carson Wentz and Jake Browning.
Yeah.
Go for it.
This is an interesting game, you know what I mean? I mean, both quarterbacks are injured, and unfortunately, Joe Burrow is going to be injured for, about until December, just about. And for the Vikings, it's going to just be 1 week for JJ McCarthy. But that's why I think it's going to be an interesting game, honestly. You know what I mean? I think both teams are 1-1, right? Or something like that. Or something like that.
Should be,
yeah. 1-1.
No, Bengals are 2-0.
Oh, I think it's right.
Yeah, Bengals are 2-0.
Bengals are 2-0, so Bengals, and that's kind of like a parody from their recent years. They started like 0-2, 1-3,
and it seems like the fact that they're starting school now, everybody's kind of like doubting them.
No, yeah, exactly. But now they don't have their quarterback, and it's gonna be rough. Jake Browning had a decent performance, but I wonder if they'll be inclined to trade for a quarterback or look into the market. But for right now, it's the Jake Browning show.
Give us Trey Hendrickson. We'll give y'all Joe Milton.
But that would be interesting, actually. That would be interesting. Yeah. But right now, it's the Jake Browning show, and they're going to be going against Minnesota. What the fuck, Charlotte? That's a fucking funny moment. So, geez, Charlotte. Hold on, let me. Hey, stop. What are you doing with that? Hold on.
It's funny because before we would struggle with, we want to struggle with Maxine, but Maxine would always want to get pet because she's my cheap pet. And now we got Ethan struggling with his cats. Now that we're back at the original set, Ethan cleans up here. I'm doing this so that way I don't have to be editing so much instead of having to worry about clipping the fucking video and shit. All right, he's back.
Funny moments, bro.
Go for it.
All right. So where was I? Okay, so. Yeah, so I'm pretty interested to see if Minnesota will be. I mean, if Cincinnati will be inclined to, look into the quarterback market. But for right now, it's the Jake Browning show, and for Minnesota, they're coming off a brutal loss, Sam, against the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, they just got beat the fuck down, and it did not look pretty at all. It was kind of a boring game. I didn't even really watch it.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't pretty. Because I'm a big JJ McCarthy guy, but he really just got beat down, and the Falcons pass rush looks pretty for real, but it's gonna be interesting now. Now it's Carson Wentz stepping in for this game, and I think this will be one of the more interesting close games of the week, Sam. But I got the Minnesota Vikings, Sam. I'm always high on the Vikings, Sam, because they got my boy Kevin O'Connell leading the helm. They got arguably the best receiver in football. This actually be I forgot. This is the best receiver in football versus the best receiver in football.
Yep.
Chase versus Jefferson, the LSU boys. But I just think Vikings got that edge with the team they have and the coach they have and the quarterback situation. I think maybe a little bit better. Sam, give me the Vikings taking it and getting it to 2-1 this week.
And of course, it does suck because I do actually enjoy watching Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. I grew up on Julio Jones, Larry Fitzgerald, Tony Brown, Des Bryant, Tony Brown before he ended up becoming weird. Des Bryant, Demarius Thomas, yada yada yada. So it's cool to see like the younger. I mean, I say younger generation like I'm not fucking 21 already, but you know what I mean by that. Like the younger generation, people my age actually that are kicking in the NFL. So it would have been exciting to see these two if they had the good quarterbacks. But Jake Browning has always been a backup quarterback. Carson Wentz actually kind of semi took his team to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Of course, Nick Foles stepped in. But that being said, I'm gonna take the Minnesota Vikings as well.
Damn.
It seems like this year we have a lot more shootouts. Of course, we started doing shootouts this year, right? But it seems like we have a lot more shootouts compared to just before, where it would be like, "Fuck, we're gonna pick" or whatever, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But with that being said, rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Gotcha.
Go for it.
So I think the final score right here will be Vikings 17. Yeah, Vikings 21. Bengals 17.
All right,
Pretty low score, you know.
I'll go 24. 10.
All right.
All right, up next, we got Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the Houston Texans. AFC South division battle.
So, it's going to be another interesting game, Sam, because the Texans are 0-2. I mentioned it to you. The Texans are 0-2 coming into this game. It hasn't looked pretty for them. It hasn't looked pretty for their first 2 weeks. Obviously, losing to my Rams, and last night losing to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. In a very close matchup. It was very competitive, and they kind of found their footing a little bit more in last night's matchup. But I think the Jaguars look pretty good, Sam, and that was a team that I didn't really think was going to look pretty impressive. But thus far, they have made all the right plays, and they kind of lost by a hair against the Cincinnati Bengals. So I'm really impressed by the Jaguars, and by the way the Texans are dropping games so far. It looks like the AFC South might be up for grabs, Sam, and so this will be an important game to, reflect upon, maybe who might become the champion. And just for that reason, Sam, I got the Jacksonville Jaguars, Sam, and I even asked you if this would be considered an upset. I don't think it is, because I think the Jaguars are kind of showing people now that, they can ball, they can play some good ball again. So I won't say any upset of the week, but I don't know. Like, it was kind of a ballsy pick because I don't like to predict a team to go 0-3, especially as talented as Houston is. But I really like the Jaguars team right now, Sam. I didn't think they were gonna be this good, but they're showing me wrong. So I'm gonna take the Jaguars in this one, Sam, going to 2-1.
I'm looking for Alex. Now, the Jaguars are another team that kind of surprised me as well. All right, let me make sure the fucking shoes. That's not even mine, bro. That's Vanessa.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're telling me that they call.
Yeah. Okay.
Hold on. So I had an alarm to wake up. So good thing it didn't go off. Oh shit! Hold on. All right. Hold on. All right.
So I'm gonna go ahead and I guess not contradict. I feel like the Texans. I think the only reason why they're 0-2 is because they have played good teams. Your Rams and the Bucks as well. Baker Mayfield's just on fire. I think Baker Mayfield's very, very underrated. He's actually one of my quarterbacks in my personal league. It's a 20-team league, so that's why Baker Mayfield's my starting quarterback. But he so far has done good for me. But I think the Texans are fine. I think again, to reiterate, it's the fact that they played good teams. Jaguars, on the other hand, are a surprise. I don't think they're going to be a good team, maybe an okay team so far. But with that being said, I'm going to take the Houston Texans for this one as well.
Shit, all right.
Something different for all of us instead of shootouts galore and shit.
Yeah, that's true.
But we're picking opposites for this AFC South Division battle. Up next, the Tennessee Titans taking on the Indianapolis Colts. The Indiana Jones Indianapolis Colts.
From one
it's on fire.
It is. From one AFC South Division matchup to another, Sam.
Yep.
This is our Colts. This is our team. We love you. Guys, the Colts look pretty good, can't lie. I fuck with the Colts, honestly, this year. And that's something I didn't think I'd be saying. A lot of surprise teams so far, Sam. I don't know it's early. And, a lot of the teams fizzle out by middle of the weeks. But, we gotta appreciate, these teams playing good football, while they still are. And, Daniel Jones, like you say, Indiana Jones, he's cooking with that roster there. Shane Steichen got them boys playing right. So I think it's going to be a fun game, especially because I feel like the Titans are kind of a team. I told you that, I feel like aren't bad as people maybe thought they were going to be. They were leading at halftime against us. They were kind of giving us a little bit of scares and jitters, and did the same against the Broncos in Week 1. So I feel like they're building something, not too bad in Tennessee, and so this will be an interesting game. Like I said, I feel like the AFC South title might be up for grabs, Sam. So maybe another pivotal matchup in that direction. Uh, Titans will lose game. They'll be 0-3, like I guess I'm predicting the Houston Texans to be, and that's what's gonna happen. I guess I'm gonna predict the Indianapolis Colts. I just think that they have such a strong team right now. They have all the momentum right now. I don't think I would be surprised if the Titans win this game, just because I do think they're kind of a sleeper right now. But I'm telling you, I just think the Colts got all the momentum. They're playing quite flawlessly. They won by a hair against Denver, but I think they did everything they needed to do. And Daniel Jones, Sam, he looks like the comeback player of the year. So the Colts are going to be 3-0.
Never thought as a Cowboys fan I'd be saying this, but I'm rooting for Daniel Jones. That's a cool story. It also kind of proves that Brian Dable might be on a hot seat for real. But the Titans, on the other hand, Cam Ward, that's another quarterback I'm rooting for. Maybe not as heavy as Daniel Jones, but like just see his like attitude in his press conferences. Taking accountability. He looks like he's been ready to be an NFL pro. So it's cool to see. I don't think the Titans are gonna make it that far, but they're showing their glimpses and signs. That they could be on the turnaround at least for the next couple years.
For sure.
Again, I'm gonna agree with you that I wouldn't be surprised that the Titans would win, but I'm gonna side with you and I'm gonna say the Colts are gonna take this.
Damn, Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I did. Okay.
Shootout.
Another shootout. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Damn.
Go for it.
Colts win this game 30-21. Damn, what an odd
Shootout.
score.
I'm gonna go 27. 27-20.
27-20.
All right. Up next, Oakland. No, sorry. What the fuck? The Las Vegas Raiders. Excuse me. Taking on the Washington Commanders.
Dang. Okay, so the Washington Commanders, they got pummeled, Sam. It's no secret. About a week ago. I was with the song, but Washington got pummeled, by Green Bay, and it did not look pretty. And unfortunately, Austin Eckler has torn his Achilles and is out for the year. So
That killed my fast.
yeah, it did. But they got Bill Krosky Merritt now. So I was telling you I'm pretty high on the guy, and I was telling Sam it looks a little bit like the Commanders could have a sort of a slump. We'll see what happens. Really, I do still think they have a strong team, and Dan Quinn, I feel like he's one of the best. Not one of the best, but maybe one of the best, and underrated head coaches in the league. He really is a player's head coach, so he knows how to get the team around. And they're 1-1 now, so they're heading into this matchup against the Las Vegas Raiders, who are coming off not so much of a beatdown, but just quite a bad offensive performance against the Los Angeles Chargers, and it just kind of confirms what I think about Geno Smith, Sam. I'm not really too impressed with what Geno Smith, is. I think he's a serviceable quarterback, but I don't think he's a guy that's going to get you a deep playoff run, anything like that. So I don't know. I don't know. We're going to see what the Raiders are going to be, and for that reason, I got the Commanders, Sam. I think the Commanders are going to go ahead and win this game. If the Raiders win, I'm going to be mad, Sam. I'm going to be mad if the Raiders win because Commanders, they can't lose this game. It's kind of pivotal to win this game after the showing that they had against Green Bay. So I'm thinking they're going to win this game, and they're going to want to get their bounce back, Sam.
I'm gonna take that. I think it's pivotal that the Commanders are gonna win. I think the Commanders are gonna be pissed at the fact that they had their chance to show that they're a big team on primetime TV. Of course, they ultimately failed. So what they're gonna do? They're gonna take it out on the little brothers of the league, the Las Vegas Raiders. Raiders haven't really been much against losing against New England. Not really having any game plan against the Chargers.
Yeah.
The Chargers, on the other hand, are another team that's starting to look, like they're going uphill, I guess you could say.
Yeah, for sure.
But This game's probably gonna be rough. I wouldn't doubt the Commanders pummel them. So with that being said, I'm gonna take the Commanders taking it as well.
All right.
Another shootout.
Let's shoot out.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
I got the Commanders winning this game 24-13.
All right. I'm gonna go 30. I'll be nice. 30-14.
30-14.
That's me being nice. Up next, we got. Ooh.
Oh,
now this one, man. You're gonna hate me after this. This one, man.
Yeah. Shit.
The Los Angeles
Oh
Rams
my god.
taking on the Philadelphia Eagles
Yeah.
NFC Divisional Round rematch.
I think it's very appropriate you put Jared Verse. You know, everybody remembers last year Jared Verse talking trash about the Eagles fans. And it was very entertaining. Guys, I am pumped. You know, I've been waiting. You know, since last year on January 19th, 2025. Sam, I remember vividly. You know, I was right over there, and the Eagles broke my heart, Sam. Jalen Carter broke my heart, and you know, 'cause I told you, I've told you before, like I felt like last year was the year. I felt last year was the year of destiny, and that loss really crushed me more than even when we lost the Super Bowl to the Patriots. You know,
Boring.
it was boring, but it just last year was, man. You know, it took a while. It took me about like maybe a month or so, you know, to get over that loss because I was just I hit deep. I hit deep in my soul, you know, because I really, you know, I love football, but I love the Rams the most. You know, that's my team. You know, I died with them, Sam. You know, and I genuinely thought that was the year. And you know, I remember I did used to like not mind the Eagles, but I remember I told my friend Chris, who's a San Francisco 49ers fan, who they got beat right 2 years ago by in the NFC Championship. I remember I didn't know how annoying they were until I'm sitting there with tears in my eyes and I hear the fucking "Fly Eagles Fly" song as the final score, you know, is going. You know, that's pretty hard pill to swallow. You know, all those fans cheering, you know, and everything. That's why we got a ticket from them, Sam. And you know, it's gonna be an interesting game because I think these two teams have developed some sort of rivalry ever since. You know, they both drafted Jared Goff and Carson Wentz, right? And they had some duels in the 2010s, and now it's moved on to, you know, Nick Sirianni versus Sean McVay, you know, and actually, Sam, Sean McVay has never beaten Nick Sirianni as a head coach, so that's a big fact that the Eagles fans like to throw in our face. So fuck the Eagles fans.
I can agree to that.
But you know, for the Eagles, they look good. I can't lie, look not as impressive as they have been, right, as last year, but they did what they needed to be done against the Kansas City Chiefs, and they're 2-0, right? Nothing to hate about that. You know, it looks, you know, like I told you, like last week, another year where they could be another dominant team, definitely another playoff team. But will they be as dominant as last year? It's a big question mark, and that's why I'm kind of glad that they, you know, won, because I want them to be in over their head. I want them to be like, you know what, we're 2-0, and we already beat these guys fucking 2 times before, 3 times before, whatever the heck. I want them to feel like that, Sam. I want them to feel like that. And here's another fun fact for you, Sam. The Rams in their last 11 games are 9-0 against everybody else they played, but 0-2 against the Philadelphia Eagles. And that's a crazy fact, Sam, right? It's a crazy fact.
That is crazy fact.
So, you know, I already took about my Rams performance earlier. I just had to get, I think that was like more emotional analysis, you know, because this game means a lot to me, Sam. And I think this is going to be a big pivotal game for the NFC in general. And, you know, I just think that all I need to say about my Rams is that we just need to get it done. You know, I think we did everything we needed to do in the offseason to stop the run, which was important, right? We got Poona Ford, we got Saquon Barkley, we got Emmanuel Forbes Jr., we got a lot of defensive guys now that are going to have to step up, and they're going to get it done. Some new defensive guys, and I'm just pumped. We're going to have to fucking bring it to them every fucking snap, Sam. Every snap. Got a fucking bat. All right, and fuck that stupid tush push. You know what I mean? That shit's impossible to stop. But we just gotta score so many points that the tush push becomes ineffective, Sam. Is really what it is, right? So, Sam, I'm not gonna pick against them this year. I got my Los Angeles Rams winning against the Philadelphia Eagles in Lincoln Financial Field and getting their revenge against the Philadelphia Eagles. Fuck the Eagles.
You know I love you, right?
Yeah. I don't give a damn if you pick against us. I don't care who picks against us. It's us against all.
I'm gonna do what you usually do, where you pick the team that is more favored to win, or you're gonna be rooting for the other team.
Yeah.
So that way I have something to fall back on. I hate the fucking Eagles too, especially now because seeing a dynasty team, Patriots and Chiefs, where they're not even in your entire conference to begin with is cool.
Yeah.
But seeing a team that could, who knows, but could be eventually a dynasty team, or even the fact that they won the Super Bowl after having a dominating year with Saquon Barkley in your own division, especially in the year where you're a complete fucking dark. All right, it's a good thing I stopped because I was about to get canceled. But as I was saying though, I've seen all these, teams that have good runs, but the pain you feel in your stomach when you see your division rival have a run, it sucks. Yeah. Of course, you guys know me as a Dodgers fan. I love my Dodgers. So of course, the city of LA is rooted in this rivalry. So of course, I'm gonna be during the game. I'm gonna be watching the Rams, but for pick's sake, so that way, if the Eagles do win, I won't be as mad because I get the pick. But fortunately, taking the Eagles for this one.
Philly Eagles done 3-0.
Those bitch ass motherfuckers. All right, you write it down. Like if I don't know. All right. Up next, we got. No, but I'm not trying to go to my dashboard. All right. Carolina Panthers taking on the Atlanta Falcons. NFC South division game.
NFC South. A lot of division games this week. So we got Falcons who coming off a pretty impressive win, right, against the Minnesota Vikings. Yeah, like I said, they absolutely beat them down. I feel the Falcons' pass rush finally feels alive, and it's gonna be interesting, right, to see what they do. Carolina, they were getting blown out against the Arizona Cardinals, but they managed to come back. They managed to make a little bit of a comeback before losing 27, sorry. Um, and I think it'll be a close game here, Atlanta versus Carolina. You know what I mean? I think Atlanta has shown that they can be that NFC South. Right? Yeah, that a lot of people want them to be. They do have a little bit of imperfections though. Carolina, I was pretty high on them going into the year, but they haven't really impressed me as much. They did come back in that game, but obviously weren't able to get the job done. Now they're 0-2, and unfortunately, I see them going to 0-3. Sam, I just think the Falcons are a pretty strong team, and they're gonna want to grab a lot back-to-back wins. So I got the Falcons getting this win, getting 2-1.
Yeah, I don't think this one's gonna be that much of a tough game to pick. Falcons do have I'm gonna agree with you there. The Falcons do have their things to look forward to. Of course, my boy Bijan Robinson, the Texas Longhorn. I'm gonna mention him every season or every game, every episode. Excuse me. Big Longhorns fan here. Yeah. But Panthers here, honestly, wasn't really high on them that much. It just seems like there's a dark cloud over the Carolina Panthers franchise where it just seems like they can't get out of the hole that they're in. Mm-hmm. Falcons, on the other hand, Michael Penix Jr., weird last name, but hey, he's working out. Yeah. Everybody's fantasy fucking thirst trap. Kyle Pitts is working out as well too. Drake London. They have that offense, but there's still something missing to them. But the Panthers should be an easy game. At least I hope so. Yeah. But with that being said, I'm gonna take the Falcons as well. So no issue. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. All right, go for it.
I got the Atlanta Falcons winning this game. Final score of 26-14.
I'll go 23-17. Next, we got the New England Patriots taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. This game would have been badass in 2016.
On God, though. On God. You remember that Steelers, that 2017 game where
Fire Move, whatever his name was? Or which one?
It was Jesse James.
Jesse James, yeah.
And they called it whatever the fuck. You're like, nah, he didn't catch it. So it was crazy. Anyway.
And who would have thought? Around that time, while we were 14, 15 more or less, I was probably 14. The Aaron Rodgers would be just Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's right. It's kind of crazy where we are now, 2015, 8 years later. Kind of crazy. It's 8 years. I mean, sorry, 2025. Damn. 2025, 8 years later. Kind of crazy. It's been 8 years. And both teams are kind of at inroads with their franchises. Trying to figure out what they're gonna build upon and do next. Steelers, obviously have their playoff aspirations, and I kind of did think they could be a team that,
Sneakily,
yeah, definitely.
Mike
But
Tomlin's still somehow gonna keep that winning record.
no, I think he could. He definitely probably will. But I thought they could be a little bit better than what they have been. But I think that loss against Seattle was very brutal, 31-17. Kind of showed their imperfections and their impurities. Uh, for the side of New England, they were able to get that win, against the Miami Dolphins. Very close game. They scored a lot of points. I think that's something to look forward to. They're building a good team in New England. Like I said, I think both teams are building something good. Even though Pittsburgh's only gonna have Rodgers for 1 year, I do think that they still can, have a lot of success later within the year. And this game will be a little bit pivotal to see, where both teams go, and it'll be a good game. Because both these teams obviously get all the big attention, the big, big media markets and stuff like that. Well, not big media markets, but they're both big franchises. Literally the two teams with the Super Bowls,
Yeah.
most Super Bowls. But I got Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh should be able to take this game relatively easily. I do think New England can take this game, but I don't know. I think Steelers could win this game. So I'll take Pittsburgh.
This game is Steelers are a little bit of a shock. I could have just been a hater, but I didn't think Aaron Rodgers was going to be good for them. Maybe it was just the fact that the Jets are just Jets are always cursed. Doesn't work out for them. But so far, it seems like Aaron Rodgers is a good fit in Steelers. Who's their running back?
Jalen Warren.
Oh, that's okay. Oh yeah, and of course they have DK Metcalf.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Of course, Steelers fans are excited to have DK and George Pickens. We know how we got him.
Yeah.
But other than that, though, Aaron Rodgers seems to be working out so far. Drake May and the Patriots, on the other hand, maybe it's more of like an ironing out issue. It's barely week 3. Who knows? Maybe something could switch up. He does have Ramondre Stevenson, not a bad running back, but I don't think it's going to be enough. I got the Pittsburgh Steelers taking this one. Yeah. And with that being said,
shootout time.
Rock, paper, scissors. Rock, paper, scissors. Rock, I got scissors. Okay, went away. All right. I'm going to go with the Steelers taking it. Not that crazy of a game. 24-17.
24-17, not bad.
You?
I'm going to go ahead and pick 21-16.
All right. Up next. Wait for my game, man. The Green Bay Packers. Oh, it's going to be a fucking slaughter, bro. The Green Bay Packers taking on the Cleveland Browns.
All right, guys. So it's gonna be an interesting game because the fucking Packers are looking like the Super Bowl champions right now, guys. They are absolutely killing it. They murdered the Lions in Week 1, and they absolutely neutralized the Jaden Daniels-led offensive, schemed Commanders. It really did not look good in that Week 2 matchup with the Commanders, or on Week 1 for the Lions. This team was brutal, Sam. They're absolutely pummeling you on defense with their new acquisition, their new toy Michael Parsons, and on offense they look very sharp and like they're progressing, right? Like the receivers are finally finding their stride, and Josh Jacobs is a bruiser. Simply put, Jordan Love is getting he's growing even more than a lot of people have doubts about him, but I think he's a solid quarterback, and it shows. It shows with this team what they're doing, and it's impressive. It's really impressive because I literally was saying like the entire offseason, I'm not impressed by this team. How they went out last year, and what they have, and it's crazy how one trade can change that opinion and change the fortunes for a team. So I'm thoroughly impressed with the Packers. I feel like if I were to make a power rankings, I think they would be my number 1 team in the power rankings. For the Cleveland Browns, got my boy Mason. Oh no, I thought it was Mason Graham. Sorry, that's Myles Garrett, of course. And the Browns suck again. I don't know how many times. Exactly.
Shocker.
I don't know how many times we've been here and said this. And it's interesting. Like they make strides and then they're like, "Oh, we're falling back down." Kevin Stefanski is a good coach, but like, what the fuck? What do they have to do? What do they have to do to like have a consistent team? Like I don't understand with this team because they got absolutely brutalized by the Baltimore Ravens, and I mean they came close against Cincinnati, so I'll give them that. But what are they gonna be? When do you think is like the hot seat for Kevin Stefanski? At what point? If they lose like out this year, they go 2-3-14, something like that.
I don't think so because he ended up drafting. He has two chances at making a good franchise quarterback with Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders.
That's true. I guess you're right.
So I don't think it's gonna be anytime soon.
You're right. But nonetheless, I think that probably speaks by itself. My pick. I got the Green Bay Packers absolutely pummeling the Cleveland Browns. This is my close lock of the week, but we'll say second lock of the week. Yeah, but Packers, 3-0 on fire, heading into the Week 4 matchup against the Dallas Cowboys. So yeah, I think Packers look really good, guys.
You had to mention all that and put me in a bad mood, bro. But I'm just gonna backpack off what he said. Yeah, the Browns are the Browns. How come we're mentioning how 2017 Steelers and Patriots, the back and forth. Brady's still in the blue, red, and white. What's his name? Ben Roethlisberger throws a touchdown to Jesse James. It's not a touchdown. What the fuck? And all that. The Browns were in Cancun because they still sucked. But I'm hoping that's not like when the whole Baker Mayfield thing happened. I don't think so. No, that was like after 2020 for sure. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, I don't know, man. The Browns are. I love my team, especially right now that they're like on the up and up. But the Browns are the UTEP of the NFL.
Yeah.
They're the UTEP of the NFL. Never. They have glimpses. They have hope. We drafted this rookie. We signed Myles Garrett to a big ass contract after he said that he wanted to leave, but he let himself out for money. Whatever.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, Browns are gonna Brown. Now, do I wish the Browns would somehow upset the Packers and have have some bad morale in that locker room when they face us against the Cowboys Week 4? Of course, but it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
I got the Packers taking this one as well.
Yeah.
How could I not?
Yeah.
Rock, Davis is issue.
I got the Packers winning this game 27-7.
All right. I got it 30-14.
30-14.
Yeah, I didn't hate the Packers enough, bro. I hate them so much now. Up next, Los Angeles Chargers taking on the Denver Broncos.
All right.
More divisional rival games.
It is, huh? There's so many divisional rival games. You love to see it. So, guys, Chargers, it's no secret. They look pretty freaking good, Sam. They're getting a lot of the hype, especially because they beat the almighty Kansas City Chiefs in Week 1. And, they spanked the Raiders last night on Monday Night Football, in the late slot. They look pretty good, our cross-city rivals, cross-city brothers, they're looking like a pretty good team this year, can't lie so far. Justin Herbert doing his thing, Madison Beer, maybe got him acting wild,
The Batty effect, bro.
The Punani, It's true, though. It's true. Anyways, look impressive, and really, Sam, it's not even him. Who's behind this? Jim Harbaugh, Sam, the Michigan man. He's the one operating this entire thing right here. Jesse Minter, former Michigan defensive coordinator, now with the Chargers. They're looking good, Sam. They're looking really good. And they're atop the AFC West right now, while the Chiefs are in their hole. And who's right beside them but the Denver Broncos, who yesterday, Sam, sorry, not yesterday. Sorry. I lost my track of days,
Yeah.
Sunday afternoon, lost by a field goal to the Indianapolis Colts, Sam. Very interesting game, and now there's a lot of talk, within social media about all the fucking Broncos defense is not as good, and they're trash, this and that. And thus far they really haven't shown that they are this big bad defense that everybody thought they were going to be this year, or really what they were last year. Coming into this year, so it'll be a good game. I think this week, I feel like Chargers and Raiders for that first place spot was important, early on for that moral victory to get that first place in the AFC West, and Chargers won it handily. And now we got another place to see who's going to be in first place for Week 3 to 4. So will it be the Broncos, Sam, or will it be the Chargers? I got the Los Angeles Chargers, guys. I think they look impressive. I think they look like a really good team this year. You know, they're playing steadily, Sam. I don't think the Broncos are going to be able to keep up with them in this game. I got the Chargers winning a very important divisional matchup, Sam.
Also, as much as I hate the Packers, I also hate the Broncos too. But that has nothing to do with like an old man making a trade. It's just more of an annoying cousin I have. But yeah, the Broncos actually kind of shocked me too. All off season, I was talking about it too. That they're scaring me. They're scaring me. Yeah, I did mine. Texas Longhorn, Jade Barron.
That's good.
Solid defensive back up next to Patrick Surtain. So I thought there was gonna be, I think they're gonna have their own island, so to say. But losing to the Colts could say two things: Colts are legit, or maybe we were too high on the Broncos. And I think this game could really could test that.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert, the baddie effect, is working for him. It's working for him. But I'm gonna go ahead and take the Los Angeles Chargers.
Damn.
So that is like shootout number 8 of 11. Like rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
And
Go for
Chargers win 23-28.
Good game. I'll make it even better. 30-28.
Damn.
Up next, this is my game. This is not my game. The Seattle Seahawks taking on the New Orleans Saints. Kind of like a boring.
Damn, guys. So Saints honestly looked a little bit more impressive in week 2 than they did in week 1. Spencer Rattler making a lot of impressive plays. Kind of finally finding his footing a little bit. And only lost, by a couple points against the San Francisco 49ers in week 2. So, I do think Saints are still, probably going to be a tank team. But, they look all right. They look like they're building something. They look like their youth is kind of like building that foundation. And, former Cowboy Kellen Moore, leading the operation there. So, I do think they have some things to look forward to on the Seahawks side of the ball. Got that big win, I can't lie, against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I didn't think they were going to be able to do that, but they looked really flawless against Pittsburgh. Made a lot of great plays, and I really didn't think that was going to happen, honestly. They came into Acrisure Stadium and just, played their game their way, Sam? So it's going to be impressive to see if they can keep up that firepower. And ultimately, I think they will be able to do that against the New Orleans Saints, who, have looked weak thus far in the year, despite some strong play in some areas. I just think that it's just, it's a little bit disappointing because they have solid pieces in the Saints, but it's a building year for the Saints and for the Seahawks. They got their own playoff aspirations. Of course, the team I'm not high on. Obviously, you heard previously, but this should be a game that they're able to win and take back with some positive things to look forward to. So I got the Seattle Seahawks going to 2-1, Sam.
So of course, I mention every episode. I think it's funny, but the Saints are in cap though. Somebody on salary got too trigger happy on that salary cap on Madden franchise mode, and now it's biting them in the ass.
Yeah.
Seahawks, though, on the other hand, they made a Steelers team that looked resilient against the Jets, and of course they took down the Jets in a comeback fashion. They ended up going to Acrisure, Heinz Field.
Yeah.
Ended up going to Heinz Field, showing them who's boss, and of course, ended up taking the dub in a dominating fashion as well. I actually had a Steelers fan talk to me when Russell Wilson threw that long ball to fucking either Mo Robinson or fucking Malik Neighbors, I don't remember anymore. And it seemed like we were about to lose. And I was telling her, I'm like, bro, y'all lost by 2 scores. Like, what the fuck are you doing in my DMs? Get the fuck out of my DMs. And of course, my boy, Butter. Butter needs some butter in his pockets, bro, because they need to pay him. Brandon Aubrey, of course, took the win. But talked about that already. Seahawks, I think they're a stronger team. It's good for Spencer Rattler and good for Kellen Moore. Me personally, I don't like him. I feel like he had his days or his games where he was a fucking offensive mastermind. And then he had his games where he just sucked the ass. But I'm rooting for him. But unfortunately, I do got to pick the Seahawks and take this one. Another shootout, my guy. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Damn. Seahawks win. Final score. Let's do 19-16. 17. 19-17. And what an obscure score, eh?
I'll go 15-10.
All right.
They're going to somehow lose to Philly. But next, okay, I know this one's got to be our fucking game. Yes, it is.
Oh,
Next,
shit.
my Dallas Cowboys taking on Chicago Bears.
Chicago
Seth Rollins'
Bears.
Chicago Bears.
Damn.
If I don't go to sleep that night seeing I hate football tweet, it was not a good day.
Alright. So, guys.
I
The
got too overzealous. My bad.
Guys. The Bears absolutely fucking suck. What the fuck was that? Bears 52 points? Holy shit. See, that's amazing how, the Lions, we were like, holy shit, the Lions are done. They scored 14 points against Packers, it's over. 13, whatever the fuck it was, it's over for them. And then they come out and score 52, whopping 52 against the fucking Bears. And I'm like, what the fuck? I didn't expect that really, maybe 30 points, but I was like, holy shit, 52 in week 2? Like, damn, you know what I mean? It's impressive. It's impressive for the Lions. And for the Chicago Bears, it's fucking embarrassing. What is this team, Sam? This team, is like the NFC's version of the Browns. Literally what they are. I don't think, a lot of people are already panicking about Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson. I don't think it's time to panic about that. Sometimes these things need time to grow. And unfortunately for the Bears, they play in basically the hardest division in football. And, they just have, I don't know what it is with them, because I do think they have solid pieces in some places, but, it's just, I don't know. They just can't really seem to find, their footing. And that's why I think the Dallas Cowboys are going to beat that ass, Sam. The Dallas Cowboys, I was high on them this year, and, like you said earlier, you were a little nervous coming in or after that game against the New York Giants, you know what I mean? But, it'll happen. I think that says more about the Giants, than, hey, what are you doing? Hey, the Cowboys, Sam, they're going to win the fucking Super Bowl. I'm just kidding.
All right, chill, bro.
Chill. Dallas, Sam, like I said before, their offense looks absolutely amazing. But the defense, I think, needs to work some kinks out. And obviously they missed Ron Bland in that game, so I feel like it's a lot more telling as to why the game went how it did. But I feel like regardless, this is going to be a get-right game. And, obviously they won, so it's not really a get-right game. But, I mean, it's the Bears, Sam. What the fuck are the Bears doing? I'm telling you. Week 1, they look all high and mighty and like, holy shit, we're going to be real good. And they fucking choke to this, basically a rookie. And week 2, they get their backs absolutely blown out by the fucking Detroit Lions. The Bears are pathetic, Sam. The Cowboys are on the up and up. You're in the Dallas Cowboys taking this game in Soldier Field.
Of course. I hope you guys are eating your popcorn. I forgot to make a diss earlier, and I'm not gonna let it go by. Thrash, you don't know ball, bro. I love Thrash. But as we're watching the game, I'm losing my shit, right? And right when Donovan Wilson's getting his pick, Thrash goes, "We know this defense." I tell him, bro, what the fuck you mean? We just gave the Giants 37 points, bro. What the fuck do you mean, bro? He goes, take that back, bro. Fuck you. Stick to your LSU Tigers, bro. Stick to your fucking LSU Tigers. But anyways, that's why you're never going to be back on the show. No, I'm just kidding. But I don't want to say it's a get-right game. Usually that's like a game where you lose a game you shouldn't have lost. You beat the shit out of the fucking opponent you go against next.
Yeah.
I think this is more a get your shit right defense fucking game because offense is great. So much props to my boy Dak. That's why I made it. I put a picture with all that aura because Dak is not the problem. But so much props to Dak, George, C, Cavante. Cavante was playing good. He hurt his neck, unfortunately, but he was playing good. Tolbert made a play. Dropped the ball, but he made a play. Boy, Javonte Williams. I am the biggest Javonte Williams fan ever. I've turned a new leaf, guys. But offense, I'm not worried about at this point. Defense. For sure, we cannot play zone coverage like we're playing middle school ball, bro. It seemed like we were allergic to this fucking man. I get it. Kyrie Elam's probably not the greatest coverage corner. I get that. But just throw a risk, man. Just throw a fucking risk. Ron Bland's going to be out at this point. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a couple weeks. But when was it? The joke was that it happened during the game. It didn't happen during the game. Actually, it was agreed on before the game. The Cowboys made a signing. They signed Jadeveon Clowney.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Now, if you guys think he's washed, you don't know ball. All right? He had 5 sacks last year, which I get it. You know, for a defensive end, it's not the highest, but he's a good run defender. At the end of the day, that's a good veteran head. No, that sounds weird. Veteran head. a good, a good veteran. He's seasoned. He's been in the league for a while. So has Kenny Clark. That's something that we could teach our young guys and hopefully develop them. There's a guy Sam Williams who's yet to break out. Donovan Izraku who's yet to break out. We also got Solomon Thomas. Of course, he's not as high as Kenny Clark and Jadeveon Clowney, but another veteran. And of course, Perry Winfrey, but I think he's hurt actually. Justin Houston, all those guys that need that veteran in the locker room. Yeah. I think that's what we're lacking. This is a game where, bro, week 4 we play the Packers. We play the fucking Packers. We are playing Micah Parsons. Yeah. Micah Parsons has vengeance against us, bro. We need to lock in this game. We need to lock in and play the best football we can. Not to discredit the Bears, but hey, man. I'm sure you guys are a good team. I'm sure you guys are going to iron out your issues one day, but we got a bigger opponent to worry about. And I'm sorry, but we're going to have to sacrifice you guys. There's no secret. I'm taking the Cowboys to this one.
Yeah.
But this one has to be not even just a win. It has to be a dominant win. It has to be a dominant win where we could all recollect ourselves after that shock that the Giants had on us. Hopefully it was kind of a humbling moment. Sometimes humbling moments are good. Shows that just because you guys fought with the Eagles doesn't mean you guys are going to be able to stick with every other team. You got to stay on your A game, be 100%. Especially you, Kyrie Elam, because holy shit, you pissed me off that day. Everybody needs to lock in. I got my Cowboys. All right. Shoot up. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. All right, bro. I keep picking paper.
I got the Cowboys winning this game 30-14.
All right. Hope this doesn't bite us in the ass because this is like the similar score we predicted against Giants and Cowboys. You said 30-17?
30-14.
14. I'm going to go 35. All right, I'm next. San Fran 49ers taking on the Cincinnati Bengals.
Damn, San Fran 49ers against the Cincinnati Bengals. Are you sure this is the game? I thought they were taking on the Cardinals.
Did I fuck it up? I did fuck it up. All right, sorry about that, y'all. I messed up on my part, but the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Arizona Cardinals.
All right, guys. So not the San Francisco 49ers or Cincinnati Bengals, as previously mentioned. Guys, I was telling Sam right now, my Los Angeles Rams, the San Francisco 49ers, and the Arizona Cardinals are all 2-0. 2-2-2, Sam. Oh, shit. But, you know, it's going to be an interesting game because it's like I said earlier with games like the AFC South matchups, you know, it's a big game for the divisional crown and to see maybe who could be the top dog in the division. You know, I mean, if these two teams want it, they're gonna have to come at the king, you know, the reigning king, take it. But I think this will be a fun game, honestly. Unfortunately, San Francisco 49ers are not at full strength. They won't have Brock Purdy starting for this game. They won't have George Kittle. I'm not sure who else they won't have, but obviously one of the two biggest pieces on offense, right, quarterback tight end combo, won't be active for this game. But Mac 10, you know, Mac Jones, you know, he showed, you know, what he could do in that game against the New Orleans Saints, and he was just absolutely dicing them up. You know, I was pretty impressed by 49ers performance in that game. You know, missing all the players that they had, and still performing quite flawlessly. Not flawlessly, but still performing quite excellently, I would say, against the New Orleans Saints in the Dome, where it's a hard place to play. So, you know, Mac Jones looks good. You know, he's the Mac 10. And it's going to be interesting. You know, I think 49ers defense still looks real solid. And for the Cardinals, I think they look pretty solid too. They look all right. You know, week 1, they had that win against the Saints as well. And week 2, they are coming off this win against the Panthers, which they almost blew, right? Almost. But they got some solid things to look at. You know, I've been saying ever since they really hired Jonathan Gannon that I'm upset with them because it's not as easy as it used to be, you know, beating the Cardinals, you know, now that they have seems like a head coach who actually cares. I miss Cliff Kingsbury, Sam. I miss Cliff. But it'll be a fun matchup, I think, to watch. But I'm going to have to take the Niners, Sam. You know what I mean? I think the Niners right now with, you know, Mac Jones playing as well as he did. Sam, honestly, I've always kind of been a little bit of Mac. I was a Mac Jones fan when he was at Alabama. I remember I actually wanted the Rams to draft him because that was when we were, like, about to cut ties with Jared Goff. Thankfully that didn't happen, honestly. But I still like the guy. He's a pro. He's a solid quarterback, and he's showing it with the 49ers. So I think that I just feel that I just feel like the Niners are gonna be able to win this matchup. So I wouldn't be surprised, obviously, if Cardinals win this matchup. They're looking very fierce, but I don't know. I think something tells me the Niners got the edge in this. Sam, give me the 49ers winning this pivotal matchup and going to 3-0.
And for me, on the other hand, kind of have to come up with something on my ass because I was thinking they were going against the Bengals. The fact that the 3-0 is actually kind of shocking. It seems like with this whole injury stuff going up against them, but then again, they did play the Saints, so I'm not really shocked. Cardinals do have a coach that care about them, so that's cool to see. Maybe not for you, a little bit more competition than NFC West, but very common football fans, kind of fun to see.
Yeah.
But I don't see the Cardinals. The fact that they almost lost that lead against the Panthers. At the end of the day, Niners still have a great defense. I'm gonna have to take the Niners for this one.
All right.
All right, shoot up. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors. Rock, paper,
Oh,
scissors,
shit! I
shoot.
karate chopped your ass.
All right. I'll make it 21-17.
You know what? I'll go 20-17.
This guy. All right.
It's gonna be like the running joke. Watch. That's the theme
So
song.
next we got the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the New York Littles. What the fuck Sunday
New
Night
York
Football
Littles?
is this, bro?
The New York Littles.
What the fuck Sunday Night Football is this, bro? You see the Chiefs, you're like, okay, maybe a good game, and then you see the fucking Giants.
Hey, the Giants, like,
It was a fluke.
they're the
It
fluke.
was a
All
fluke.
right,
It was
all
a
right.
Go for it.
So, the Kansas City Taylor Swift guys,
Yep.
they're 0-2. It's no secret. But, like I said earlier, it's no time to panic, guys. They gotta just chill out. And they gotta, like, remember Aaron Rodgers when he said, relax? Remember when he said that? RELAX, relax. Just like that. So, I think with Chiefs, they just need to relax, guys. They have worries, and especially with Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice out right now for quite some time. But Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. Andy Reid is Andy Reid, and I think this is the Chiefs get right. Sam. This is the Chiefs get right game, like we're talking about. Giants impressed me. Can't lie to you. Giants impressed me in that loss against the Dallas Cowboys. I didn't see any universe where the New York Giants were going to be in this blazing shootout with the Dallas Cowboys, but it happened. And, Russell Wilson was out there slinging it like it's 2013. It was very impressive. And Malik Neighbors, showing how much of a superstar he is, really. So, Giants are building something. Like I said, I think they could be that sneaky team. And I feel like they could have won this game, honestly. Like, I kind of wish I could have made this my upset of the week. I feel like it would have been unique. But I won't do it now because we don't have a graphic. So I'll be safe. And, we're going to have a shootout anyway. And take the Kansas City Chiefs, Sam, winning this game. I just think that it's going to be hard to it's going to be hard to get them to 0-3, like I said with a couple other teams earlier. And if they get to 0-3, it's going to be a big, big news. Why? Like, everybody's going to be talking about that. So, ultimately we'll see. I wouldn't mind putting some money on Giants, but, we'll see what happens. I got the Kansas City Chiefs, though, getting their first one of the dub in week 3 of the season. Sorry, first dub of the season.
Again, okay, so the Kansas, obviously, I should put that for shits and giggles. But the Chiefs being 0-2 is crazy. It is crazy. It seemed, without Rashee Rice, and of course without Xavier Worthy, because Travis Kelce can't fucking keep his head on a swivel. Mm-hmm. I'm mad because Xavier Worthy, but Xavier Worthy's on my damn fantasy team. Yeah. But I'll give my props. Russell Wilson looks great. It was cool. I've never had a problem with Russell Wilson. Yeah. I feel like he's a chance rapper of NFL. If you get that, it's because you know music. But I don't see the Giants winning. Yeah. Regardless if they put up their best battle, I don't see the Giants winning. I'm still gonna be a hater and say it was a fluke because they struggled against the Commanders. Well, the Commanders.
They did. No, they did.
Yeah, they struggled against the Commanders, but I'm gonna say it was a fluke. Maybe it was the fact that they knew that Dak Prescott is 14-0 since the last loss against the Giants. So who knows? But I'm gonna make it easy. I'm gonna go with the Chiefs.
All right.
No, actually, what the fuck? I did not put that.
Oh shit, he picks the Giants, guys. You guys see it?
I'm gonna put the Chiefs. All right, ready? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Go for it.
27-20. Ooh.
Yeah, I'm gonna make it a good game. 24-17.
For 17, all right.
Last but not least, I only see 2 graphics here, so I think I'll fuck with guys.
Baltimore versus the Lions. Holy shit. Bum, bum,
Yeah,
bum,
football
bum, 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 bum. The fucking Monday Night Football.
All right.
All right. So, week 3 has come to a conclusion, guys. And that thing fell. See, that points to the conclusion. But they spoiled us for Monday Night Football, I feel like, on week 3. Because they were like, fuck it. Lions and Ravens. Holy shit. This is the colossal matchup that everybody was wanting to see in the Super Bowl the past 2 years, I feel. And, this is going to be a big, big matchup. And I'm really excited to watch it, honestly. Monday Night Football is always, it's pretty good. I always like watching Monday Night Football. But I feel like this one definitely, I'm going to take, go ahead and sit down and watch it because very good game. Very good game between two very good teams. Baltimore just fucking pummeled the fuck out of the Cleveland Browns in my lock of the week, of course. And they look impressive, Sam. I said, I feel like it's either Baltimore or Green Bay that is the best team in the NFL right now. That's my honest opinion. Baltimore or Green Bay, and so that's obviously that means that they're the best team in the AFC. And I feel like they still are, even with that loss to Buffalo, Sam. Honestly, I believe that because they just have this nucleus that is so high powered on offense with Derrick Henry just gashing teams and Lamar just being able to do to run around them, and also he can throw. He's a 2-time MVP. Zay Flowers is finally kind of involved into that dependable number 1 wide receiver, and their defense is always looking good. Obviously, the Ravens' defense is what the Baltimore Ravens are built on, and it's gonna be a brutal matchup because the Lions also kind of share those same kind of values. You know what I mean? They're hard built on defense. They're a hard nosed, tough fought team, and they got a whole nucleus of guys on offense with Jahmyr Gibbs, Jared Goff, Sam Laporta, my boy Amon-Ra St. Brown, the Sun God, Jameson Williams, the Speed Burner, Tim Patrick, Isaac Tesla. I mean, this team is loaded still, and there are so many question marks in Week 1 after they lost to the Green Bay Packers about whether the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, losses would affect them down the stretch. But I genuinely feel like they still can be that team they were last year, just blowing teams out every week, putting up 50, like they did on the Bears. And it's going to be a really good game, Sam. I'm really enthused to see, what happens here. And I got Baltimore Ravens beating the Detroit Lions here. So I had to look at my pick there because I kind of forgot because I was so enamored. I really do think this is going to be a very, very interesting game. And I just think that Baltimore has a lot of the edges that is going to lead them to victory over what the defense of the Detroit Lions presents, and I just feel like Baltimore, like I said, they could be the best team in the NFL right now. So give me the Baltimore Ravens winning this game on Monday Night Football, ending off Monday night Week 3 with quite a banger, Sam. Quite a banger.
So this one was good. This one was hard to pick, honestly. Monday Night Football, they're spoiling us. Bakerfield's Buccaneers versus Stroud's Texans. Don't remember what the fuck the first Monday night game was. Was it the first Monday night game?
Wasn't it Chargers? No. It was
Saturday. That was Friday. That was a Friday game.
Oh, the first Monday night game last week.
From Week 1.
It was what the fuck? Oh, Vikings and Bears.
Yeah, exactly. Good game. Good game. They are spoiling us here, and honestly, I wanted to pick the Lions because they're underdogs. I always root for the underdog story, but Ravens look tough after losing that comeback against the Bills. They've been on a vengeance. They have all the momentum on the world right now because they beat the living shit out of the Browns.
Yeah.
Of course, unfortunately, I didn't put the graphic of you picking the Ravens because I kind of fucked up and I put ours together.
Oh shit.
But we're both gonna pick the Ravens here. So last shootout, rock, paper, scissors.
Damn.
And of course.
So why not get wacky and wild with it? It's a big game. I got the Baltimore Ravens winning in an absolute shootout, 44-38.
Alright, damn. I'll go the same. 40, 35. 35. All right. What time did I start on Tuesday? It's almost so good. Now I started like at 4:15 on Tuesday. Alrighty then, but that's a easy day. And that concludes our week 3 picks.
Yeah.
Again, seems like we've been waiting so long for NFL season to start, and now
It's finally here.
it's finally
week
here.
3.
We're already week 3.
Yeah.
Rams are looking good. Cowboys looking good. We got a dub. Brian Schottenheimer's first dub. We have to see, wait and see. Hoping that my boys, get the good, not a semi-redemption win, a win for them to get all their shit straight and all the pieces together because we do got a big game week 4. You guys play the Eagles.
The Eagles, yeah.
Of course, now that's fun. I'm over here fucking acting like we're about on the edge of the earth here. You guys are playing a big ass game.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be rooting for the Rams though, because fuck the Eagles.
Yeah.
But other than that, shout out to my UTEP Miners though. They held a good fight against Texas Longhorns. I know it's both my teams, but that day I was a UTEP Miners fan. Shout out to them. Other than that, this weekend I'm playing a softball tournament, so root for me. I'm gonna go fucking 4-for-4 grand slams each time. No,
Gotcha.
I can't swing for shit. But other than that, my name is XiX from XiX Sports Hour. Ethan from Mistaken for Bacon. Catch you guys next time.